What's up, everybody? Good to have you here. Thanks for joining me on this podcast today. It's going to be a fun one. I've got a pretty interesting little topic that I've been doing and been thinking about, and I think it's just something that we do as coaches, whether we realize it or not. Sometimes it's strategic, sometimes it's on purpose, and sometimes it just kind of manifests itself as the situation desires. But I want to tie it into a story first about some things. But if you've been with me for a little while, if you've followed anything, listen to some other podcasts and stuff, I got a couple of kids. I've got Allie and Chase, and Allie is 8 years old, just turned 8, and Chase is 5 years old. And, a lot of fun. If you've got young kids, sometimes how it can be frustrating, it can be awesome, it can be everything in between, and wouldn't change a thing. And it's very cool. But from time to time, Allie, in particular, has a very difficult time of getting up out of bed in the mornings to go to school. And so, for a long time, most of the time, I will do the traditional parent thing and walk in and just, wake her up and, hey, you got to get out of bed, got to get going, got to get dressed and get downstairs, get ready to go to school. And, some mornings that works, and it's not a big deal, but she is depending on me, by the way, to be the alarm clock, and that's okay right now. But there's some mornings that not so easy. So a few of the things that I've done in the past, and as a father, I am proud to say this, not embarrassed. But there was one morning I got all kinds of hell caught from Sarah, my wife, for doing this one. But I told Allie, I said, if you don't get up, I'm going to go get a cup of water and I'm going to pour it on you. And she didn't believe me. Well, now I've got to be put in a position to where I'm either can't back it up or I got to. And I think you know what I did. Of course, I went and grabbed a cup of water, and that was a fun morning for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Of course, everybody else got mad at me because why? Because it was over the top and it was crazy and it served my point a little too hard, but that's okay because I knew the sheets would dry and I knew she'd get out of bed. And at the end of the day, ultimately, we accomplished the goal, which is for her to get out of bed. There was another morning where she was struggling. And I told her, if you don't get out of bed, I'm going to go and tickle you until you pee your pants. Well, guess what? She didn't believe me, and now we don't have to do that anymore because I took care of what I said I would do. And it was just one of those mornings, and I'm, it's cool. Don't worry about it. And I tell her not to worry about it. But, again, it helps to serve the purpose of what we're trying to do. But lately, I've been thinking a little bit differently, but it's been more fun for me as well. But she just recently got a new little stereo put in her room. It was an old stereo that I had. It's a CD player. And got some old CDs, so some of the CDs that she has is from Garth Brooks. And so the last few mornings, as I'm recording this, she has had some difficulty getting out of bed. So I've told her I'm gonna turn your alarm clock on if you don't get out of bed. And she gets mad at me, but then at the same time, I think she really secretly enjoys it. So what I do is I crank up Ain't Going Down Till the Sun Comes Up. If you've ever heard that song from Garth Brooks, high energy, just a rock song. It's badass, and I love it. And I crank that sucker up to max. It literally says max on the stereo itself. And I'll just sit there in her room and I'll just sing that song as loud as I possibly can on top of the music. And I'm just walking around and stuff. And if you've ever been to a Garth Brooks concert, which I highly recommend, by the way, but if you've ever been to a Garth Brooks concert, you know that when he gets to that song, there's a particular moment in the song where he'll usually climb up onto the drum set cage and he'll just start shaking it back and forth as he's singing a certain part of the chorus, or he does something kind of crazy a little bit. And as he was younger and in better shape, he used to do even more. But it just kind of helps to amplify the song. And so my daughter sleeps on a trundle bed. If you're not sure what a trundle bed is, it's that kind of bed that has a bed underneath the main bed, the mattress. It pulls out so that a second person can sleep on it. So I'll pull the trundle bed out, and when it gets to that part of the song, I get to reenact my best version of Garth Brooks, and I'll stand on the trundle bed and I'll put my hands up on her mattress by her, and then I just start shaking back and forth as we start singing it. And she's shaking, going back and forth, and she's giggling and she's laughing and she's having a great time. And again, I get to act like I'm Garth Brooks for a little while, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. I know why he does what he does. So, anyways, she finally gets out of bed, and we go about our day. And she's in a better mood because we started the day off and it's fun. So why have I told you all of these stories? Because as coaches, sometimes we've got to think outside the box. Sometimes as coaches, we've got to do things that are a little bit different. One of my former players that I have now, Joseph Camacho, who's in the Oakland A's organization, he reminded me of a story that I'd forgotten about a long time ago, but he was having difficulty concentrating, keeping and holding his focus while he was pitching. So one day we decided that we were going to focus on that while he was throwing his bullpen. He didn't know how I was going to do it, and I didn't know how I was going to do it, quite honestly, either. It just kind of happened. But down by our bullpen, we had some chairs. We had a little bench, wooden bench that we had and everything. And so right as he's getting ready to throw his very first pitch, I grabbed the bench, and I just chuck it right in front of him. It didn't get close to hitting him. I didn't throw it that close or anything, but I threw it maybe about 15 feet in front of him. So literally as he is in his motion going forward to, the ball is getting ready to come out of his hand, he sees this big-ass bench come flying across him in front of him and freaks him out completely. And he wasn't prepared for, oh, what the hell was that? And I said, well, if I distracted you, then I did my job. I broke your concentration. Okay, now I get it. Next pitch, here comes a chair. Next pitch, I don't do anything because he's expecting something to happen, but I disappoint him. I let him down, but he's thinking that something will happen, so again, I'm distracting him by not doing anything. Okay, next pitch. Boom, I take a bat and I slam it on the metal chair, make this big crash bang and all that. As you can see, we kind of went through that for a little while. And it was a whole lot of fun for me, let out some little aggression and frustration I was having, if I had some, but all I remember is how fun it was. I recommend that you try to do something like that as well. But he got the point. He understood. Things are going to happen. I can't let it affect what I'm doing. I got to stay locked in. And so I think as coaches, that's part of our job. I think that that's what we've got to do at times. We've got to shake it up. We've got to do things different. We've got to be outside the box a little bit. We've got to come at something from a little different angle sometimes just to serve a purpose or give it a new perspective or a new look. People will appreciate that. They'll enjoy that. It'll be fun. It'll be different. It'll be interesting. But if it continues to hit on what we're trying to accomplish, they will eventually get it as well. And I think that that's something that I would encourage you to be doing as well with what you've got going on, whether it's coaching your team or in giving an private lesson instruction or whatever. Don't make it the same all the time. Okay, every once in a while, mix it up. Sometimes you got to mix it up because you got to serve a point because guys aren't playing and doing and acting the way you want them to, and you've got to make it, a little bit more painful. You got to serve a point. Sometimes you just change it up and to have a little more fun or to, make it a little more light and just break the monotony sometimes. And all of those things are good and they're worth it. And so I encourage you to do that and to think about how you might be able to do that from time to time, or if it just kind of organically manifests itself in your practice, in your training, to not be afraid to just go with it and to trust your gut and to roll with it. Maybe, it'll pay off. I know it'll pay off. So anyways, I hope that was helpful for you. I appreciate you being a part of this. As always, if you find that this could help somebody else, please give us a like or a share or a comment on this and help spread the word out there to try to help make baseball a little bit better for everybody. And if there's anything I can do to help you with through either some consulting or being a part of our inner circle or whatnot, you can always check us out and join us for that as well. I've just opened up recently that I'm officially wanting to start helping consult with private instructors, trying to help make their training experience and their business and everything a lot better. And so if that's you and you're listening to this, love to get you on a call. I'll put a link in the bottom of this, in the description area of this podcast where you can click on it. It'll take you to a quick form. There's 3 or 4 questions on that form I need you to fill out just so I can get a little familiar with you ahead of time. And then we'll set up a phone call and then we'll start going into those questions and seeing how I might be able to help you in doing what you're doing. And then if you're a coach, we already have those services as well. So anyway, you can always reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you any way we can. So until next time, I will talk to you soon and you guys have a good one. See ya.